This is Roger Simon.
And Lionel Chetwynd.
Welcome back to Poliwood, where I'm wearing my new summer Borsalino for the summer movies. But more of that in a moment, because Lionel's going to start with the usual television wrap-up.
The hat goes on and you're Jean-Paul Belmondo.
Easily. Anyway, on to the television.
On to television. Apologies. Well, it's sort of some props to Shonda Rhimes, who we called out last week for her new show, Scandal. But there was a character who referred to a Latin American dictator as a nasty, leftist, fascist, Nazi, all of those things that might be heard at Barney's Beanery. And it was inserted in there, and I think credit to her for that. Two Americas almost alive on that show. The other thing I want to tell you, we talked about Smash. There is now occurring in Smash real kernels of truth, and on the season finale they showed you the much of the actual show, and it's fantastic. What's happening with Smash is it's going the opposite way of Entourage, where Entourage just became more and more involved in just drugs and sybaritic life of Hollywood.
Which, of course, does not exist.
Well, it didn't exist for me, but this show, there are kernels of truth in relationships. So maybe look at this again about some of the prices you pay for a career in this business. The real price, which was never dealt with in Entourage. Because it is two worlds. You know, there's always two worlds on television. And it's occurred to me that that marks the reality shows. I hated Simon Cowell. I hated him with his
snotty British accent.
Well, yeah, that second-tier public school thing.
Right.
But you know what? At least he was truthful. He would tell people the truth about what was happening. Take a look at this.
All right, well, look.
It was dreadful. No, really dreadful. And I'm saying that to be kind, because you will never, ever, ever have a career in singing.
I don't believe you.
I'm telling you.
I don't believe you.
I'm telling you.
Well, you can tell me all you want, but I won't believe you.
Remember these words, you're not a singer.
What a mean guy, Lionel.
What a mean guy, but it was the truth, okay?
Right.
Now,
listen, I don't remember whether that guy could sing, so can't tell
there are
you.
mean things in life.
Right.
Like in Little League, one team will win and one team will lose. No more. You know, America's become a country where everyone
Everybody
gets a
wins
trophy.
yes, right.
We don't keep score.
Right.
That was brought in by the soccer, this dreadful European sport. I miss Simon Cowell now. I miss that honesty, because what's happened to the show is that it has become, first of all, everyone on the show has to sing like Aretha Franklin. You can take a Gershwin ballad and it comes out loud and screamed. Not everyone can sing like Aretha, but everyone's made to sing. But they don't tell the truth. Whether they're trying to build and say, look how wonderful we are and how everybody is. But I think it's more this idea that, oh, we're all terrific, everyone's good, and I'm not going to be judgmental. And it becomes fawning and pandering, and it becomes unpleasant. Here.
All right, let's look at it.
Another winning performance. Just over the top.
That was amazing.
This is one of the hardest songs in the world to sing.
Yeah.
It's been sung like crazy on this stage, and you know what? You got up there and slayed it. I don't know where you find the experience and the vocal chops, but dude, you are phenomenal.
Well, she's no Billie Holiday.
No, but I think she was singing You're Gonna Love Me Like No One Loves Me, which, you know, Ruth Ettinger did and Ella did, and they did it sweetly.
right.
But they all scream like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, that's my
you
point.
know, your point is well taken. But the voice, I think, is a little better with this, but it's still the same.
voice, yeah.
They have actual real singers judging on their teams, but they always mostly bend over backwards to be nice to them, too. I mean, Christina Aguilera, who's better than any of the contestants, is always saying.
But that show, at least they have something at stake,
Yeah.
which is their ability to show that they can mentor, that they understand music. They have some reputation at stake. On Fashion Star, the judges, who are really the buyers for the stories, actually have their jobs on the line. Guy there spent $1 million for Saks if nothing sells. So it's very interesting how reality shows reflect different attitudes within America. This American Idol, which is aimed basically at teeny boppers, is everyone's a winner, you're all wonderful, as opposed to real business. So
Well, some of the reality shows are different. Next week, let's get into some of the new real estate shows. But however, now we should turn to the world of cinema on the mass market level for the Avengers, which I actually really enjoyed. I've noticed that in the last 2 weeks there's been a trend with us here. I like one movie, you dislike it, then and vice versa. This time it's the Avengers, which I really liked because somehow it caught the spirit of the Marvel comics to me. And I grew up on Marvel comics, and I grew up, on the whole nature of Marvel comics, which really came out of New York in the 40s and 50s, and the reaction to the Nazis and all that, as you probably undoubtedly know. And this movie still had it, and I'm really glad that it's hugely popular. It's fantastically popular. It's one of the most, it's going to be one of the most popular music of all time. And another good thing, and then I'll let you tell what you don't like about it, is it's very patriotic. And it sort of gives lie to the idea that Hollywood is manufacturing left-wing movies for Europe. In this case, they're definitely not doing that. I mean, this is Captain America and everybody's saving New York, and it doesn't have that flavor at all. It has a very pro-American flavor going out to the world where it's a huge international hit. Take it away, opponent of the Avengers.
No, not really the opponent. First, I'm going to address what I like. In Poliwood's never-ending search for political significance in films where none is intended. Because that's what I do.
That's true.
Take it to a higher level, actually.
Right.
What did I like about it?
Otherwise, we're just reviewers.
Now, I'm going to tell you what I'm about to say that I liked about it. Me, a critic, never. You, that. I don't believe that any of the things I liked in it are responsible for the film taking $373 million domestically in 10 days.
Right.
It's astounding, okay?
Yeah.
But for the last 150 years or so, through Heidegger and Nietzsche and Wagner, I tell you,
in terms of the Avengers,
and J.R.R. Tolkien, the Teutonic gods, the Aesir, memorialized in the Edda, which is a long epic poem, which is an alternate story to the Bible, but also ends in an apocalypse, but the bad guys win. It's the obverse to Judeo-Christianity. Those gods have been raised, particularly through Wagner and J.R.R. Tolkien, to something really wonderful. They are the great gods. In this film, at least, they're not. They're evil. They're evil. So in that sense, I agree with you. It's very traditional, and that was the point of the Marvel comics in World War II. My favorite line was, be careful, they're gods. And Captain America says, there's only one God, and he doesn't look like them. Right. I stood up and I actually applauded.
That was a great line.
I didn't really, but it was a great line. So I agree with all of that. They were, in other words, battling the forces of evil. But no one's explained why they're evil. It's kind of like it's not like a Western where you could tell what it was. Loki was a bad guy. The greatest line was in the beginning. He says, I come here to liberate you. And they say, from what he says, from freedom. And the more I talk about it, the more I guess I like it.
That's pretty clear. I mean, what could be more clear?
What I didn't like was all the things, they didn't blow things up good. I mean, they just got a big thing going through Manhattan, and every time he swings his tail, another building is circumcised, I couldn't see the faces of the flying monkeys. I mean, come on.
I thought this was actually...
That was cheesy.
I thought it was actually very good, and was way better than the Hunger Games, which you liked in that regard. Now, this is an interesting... The
Hunger Games didn't depend on CGI. This did.
This was very much
By the way,
more
one
CGI,
thing,
right?
the performances were superb.
Oh, Robert Downey is, as always, great.
Yeah.
And so is Banner.
They were great. They're absolutely, the performances, that really, he really was.
Yes. So, I mean, and they'll be back, and they're already planning, Avengers 6, 7, 9, and 15.
Right. Be around forever. We always say, don't make conservative movies, make movies and let that truth come out. And I guess that truth is there. And it is finally a reversal where the Teutonic gods are not the good guys. And I really mean that. I'm not kidding about Heidegger and Nietzsche and all of that.
I know you're not.
The only weapon is the popular culture. And I take it back. I love the film. Great film.
And let's take our hat off to Robert Downey Jr., a fellow closeted conservative, but as we all know, a true conservative. And he says the stuff in the lines he says and the parts he takes that show it.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we go over to our buddy Matt Atchity at Rotten Tomatoes, who's going to talk about next week, which probably includes Sacha Baron Cohen.
Hi, this is Matt Atchity, Editor-in-Chief of RottenTomatoes.com, here to give you the lowdown on the movies that are opening in theaters this weekend. First of all, we've got Battleship, which stars Liam Neeson and Taylor Kitsch. This is based on, surprisingly, the classic board game. And believe it or not, they do work in things like E5, B2. I couldn't believe they did it, but they do. Unfortunately, most critics say that the movie isn't that good. It's only about 41% on the tomato meter. The general consensus seems to be that it's loud and lots of explosions, but mostly kind of stupid. But little kids will probably like it. I wouldn't take very small children to it, but if you've got kids that are 10, 12 years old, they're going to love this movie. Another movie that's coming up this week is The Dictator, starring Sacha Baron Cohen. Now, this one is not a mockumentary. This one is actually a traditional narrative film. He plays a dictator kind of based on a Gaddafi-type character. Critics actually mostly like this. It's at about 65, 66% at the moment. Most of them say that it is pretty funny. It's got a lot of satire. It may not be as sharp as, say, Borat, but it's got some pretty good laughs in it, and co-star Anna Faris is fun to watch as well. Lastly, in wide release this weekend is a book adaptation of What to Expect When You're Expecting. Those parents out there may know this as kind of a baby guidebook. Somebody's actually managed to make a narrative film out of this. It stars Cameron Diaz and Jennifer Lopez and Elizabeth Banks. Most critics say that it's really not very good. It's only about 33% on the tomato meter. It's really a poor adaptation of what ultimately is kind of a self-help book. They say that the jokes fall flat, it's not very engaging, and you're probably better off avoiding this one entirely. That's the rundown of all the wide releases in theaters this weekend. If you want to check out some of the art house fare or see what else is playing on DVD, make sure to check back on RottenTomatoes.com.
Thanks, Matt. Lionel, one more thing.
Yeah.
Did you see Avengers in 3D or 2D?
3D.
I saw it in 2D. I think that explains the difference. I think guys our age, or listen, anyone over 10, if they see a movie in 3D, headache.
I did, yeah. I felt assaulted.
Yeah. Anyway, until next time, this is Roger Simon
And Lionel Chetwynd.
in Poliwood.